Support WrestleTalk!
Donate on Patreon.
Are we getting John Cena versus Samoa Joe finally at WrestleMania 35? I'm Ollie Davis. This is Luke Owen. Welcome to the WrestleRamble review edition of SmackDown, where we got a title change last night.
You mean you don't want to talk about Mandy Rose Nasca?
Hey, no, I figure we close on that. Because that's what will keep people sticking around to talk about their excellent feud and how they really turned it around with their focus on the women's division, the SmackDown's women's division, not what's actually the Raw women's division.
Quite. But yeah, this was an excellent little TV match. I thoroughly enjoyed this four-way. I thought it was far and away the best thing on this show with, as you say, quite a shocking title change.
Yeah, so it was, R-Truth came out, he did his brilliant United States Open Challenge gimmick again. So we've had this started last week, and it was R-Truth making fun of how much he idolizes John Cena, which was really, really genuinely funny. R-Truth is genuinely charismatic, and he's very good at humor stuff.
And it worked again this week, because he was like, I was looking at, people say that they can't see him, but I can see him. He's on my John Cena posters. I look at my bed sheets, I look at my John Cena bed sheets, and I see him there. I even saw him in a movie with a car that's also an alien robot. I saw him there too.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I didn't know I'd have to do the US title Open Challenge every week. I'm exhausted after last week.
So good.
So, and we fantasy booked last week that maybe R-Truth was building to a match with John Cena
Because
at WrestleMania.
He's doing John Cena's moves.
He did the 5-knuckle shuffle in this match. He hit a double 5-knuckle shuffle, so that's 10 knuckles.
Still doesn't make sense.
Or is it 2.5 knuckles? Per person. On Joe and Ray, I believe it was.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Carmella was like, I don't know, she was like, do a 7-second dance break.
Do a 7. Yeah, and then the challenge was answered by Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans walked down, turned around, and walked back. I'm sure it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not. She's literally she is on a ring road at the moment, just going around in circles. But
it's like
maybe
baggage collection at an airport.
That's exactly what it is. But I loved Truth here, where he yelled at her, "Come back, Miss Sexy Gloves," and then paused. It was like, yeah, she don't want none.
Yeah.
So good.
So R-Truth doing great comedy stuff here, and the John Cena. Yeah, I thought they were taking us down that route, which is what, and the US title is so affiliated with Cena because of the US title Open Challenge that really is the reason we all like him now.
That was where the tide turned, right?
Yeah.
We were all like, boo, Cena's rubbish. He won the US belt, and we're like, oh, at least he's away from the championship scene, the main event. That'll be a nice change of pace, I guess. And then every week he was just having the best match on TV, bringing up guys from NXT, having great matches with them, taking younger, not utilized guys and giving them a moment to shine on the main roster, just having great weeks, great matches every week. And we were going like, this Cena kid, he might actually have something.
Yeah. Well, isn't it funny that when he started to put people over, that we're all like, okay, well, you could have done this 10 years ago, John.
Yeah, you could have done this with the Nexus, John. And then, so Truth thinks that he's done because Lacey Evans accepted the challenge, but then she bailed out on it because, as Truth put it, she don't want none.
Don't want none.
And so he's like, I don't have to do it anymore. But Carmella says, no, you still have to do this. And he looks to the sky and yells, damn you, John Cena!
Again, sowing the seeds for that Cena Truth match.
Yeah.
Which would have been funny, I think. But this way that it seems to be going with Joe is going to be it's going to be a better match.
A more serious match, unless it becomes like a multi-man match, which I've seen a lot of people suggesting online, which I'm very much against. I think if you're going to do Cena coming back and going for the United States title and putting Joe over at the end of this, so Joe gets a big win over John Cena at WrestleMania, I'd much rather that be a one-on-one match.
Yeah. Well, so Joe answered next, and it looks like we're going to get Joe and Truth, which I was like, oh, wow, they won't take the title off Truth this early. But then Rey Mysterio, because I could see no way out of that with Truth versus Joe, unless you want to keep botching Joe. And then Rey Mysterio and Andrade come out. They were, of course, part of the three-way with Truth last week, so that's building that bit there. And you've got a 4-person match again. I thought, okay, this is how you don't have Joe lose, who really has every position he's put in by WWE, he has excelled. Like, it is not his fault that he isn't a better presence in WWE. His promos are excellent. His matches are generally really, really good. And his character is so, like, he has his character so down and it's believable. But they just keep giving him these start-stop pushes. The thing with AJ that he loses, then he's off TV for weeks. Then he's in the Elimination Chamber mix. Then he's off TV for weeks.
Wasn't he the first out in the Elimination Chamber or
Yeah.
something like that? Like
First
he was
out
at
at
Survivor
Survivor
Series, yeah. Like he had a good showing at the Rumble, but again, it didn't, like, nothing was built off the back of it. So he's just been sort of floundering for a little while. And now, like, giving him his first big title win on the main roster, I think this might be the start of something now for him. Like Rusev said in that Lillian Garcia podcast, like, I want the US title picture to be back to the way it was when I was champion and defending it against John Cena at WrestleMania when I came out in a tank, and like the title felt like it meant something. And the US title hasn't meant anything for ages. Like the amount of champions we've had with that belt, like Randy Orton was champion and did nothing with it. Bobby Roode was champion, did nothing with it. Jeff Hardy was champ last year and did nothing with it.
Yeah, I remember Jeff. I don't remember
Randy was champ, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he did win it.
Yeah, okay.
And then
Nakamura,
Rusev, and then back to Nakamura, and then randomly to R-Truth. And then R-Truth went missing for like 3 weeks. You're like, this belt really doesn't mean much. It's only in the last week where Truth has been doing this US Open Challenge, and we started to think about, Truth versus Cena at WrestleMania, that'd be great, that I think that people are starting to be interested in the belt again. And with Samoa Joe winning it and possibly building to a big match with John Cena at WrestleMania for the United States Championship, I think that does a lot to elevate that belt back up to where it once was.
Yeah, and WWE will treat it seriously as well if this is part of a Cena feud.
Yeah.
So after Joe wins, and it was a great match. It was my favorite thing on the show by quite some way.
So far and away.
It's Andrade and Rey just having this insane chemistry and working around spots. Using other people to facilitate the spots that they want to do, but they can't usually do because there's only 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like electric chair spots. You need another person to just stand there for Rey to be on top of.
But they played off that. So instead of doing it that way, instead Rey jumped off into the crossbody onto Joe, and Andrade nearly got a pin off the back of it. I think it was Andrade that got the pin. They did the Canadian Destroyer. There was topes aplenty. A penguin slide spot that looked so painful because he landed right into Truth's knees. It looked really awful.
That was the spot that the crowd started chanting, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But I really like the structure of the match. At the start, it was just Joe dominating everyone.
Just systematically.
Picking them apart.
Yeah, systematically destroying everyone.
Yeah, it was like everyone was on the floor within a couple of minutes, and he's just walking around, beating up one guy, then moving on to the next one, looking really cocky. And it's just, I love it when he does it. When Rey did a crossbody off the top rope, and Joe just did the no. and walks away to have Rey crash and burn. Really fun match. And Andrade and Rey smartly riffed off the spots from last week. But yet the shock win of Joe.
Yeah, so at the end of it, Zelina Vega takes out R-Truth by hitting a Hurricane Rana, and they're putting there's no disqualifications, and then Miller lays out Vega. And that was when I was thinking, like, they're going to do a title switch here. Because I thought they were also telling a story with Truth that he somehow manages to keep winning these matches, because that's the story they told last week. So he's going to still, oh man, I can't believe Truth won again. Like they Crash Holly, the Houdini of hardcore, where no matter what situation you put him in, he always still seems to win, come out as the hardcore champion.
Which works for people the crowd are behind.
Yeah.
Works for Crash Holly. I would argue it would have worked for R-Truth
really
for a long time.
Yeah.
Never worked for the B team. Never.
Well, okay, well, we won't get into the B team. Let's not go down that path once again. And then all of a sudden, Rey hits the 619 and a frog splash. Joe breaks it up with a senton, picks up Andrade, F's him into the ground with a Uranagi slam, and pins him.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Okay. Joe's champ, then, I guess. I was stunned.
I thought it was going to be a kick out because Andrade was hit by the 619.
Yes.
So there's that. But an Uranagi is hardly
it's not a finish
Joe's finishing move. So I would love for Joe to use that as a finishing move from now on because he's just got the Coquina clutch, really. Yeah, I guess the Muscle Buster isn't really used.
Exactly. He's not using the Muscle Buster on the main roster. So I think he needs like another move that's not just the clutch that you can get near falls off of.
And this is, I think you've already said this, the first championship Joe has won on the main roster. He was called up after the 2016 Royal Rumble. That is nuts.
That is nuts.
It was that year, wasn't it? Oh,
I'm going to take your word for it. Is that a 20% fact or an 80% fact?
It was 100%, but it's been significantly downgraded after I said it out loud. You talk about the promo where he sowed the seeds first.
Well, before we do that, I want to give a quick shout out to Shaya on Twitter, who got in touch last week to say, like, who do you think is going to win the belt off of R-Truth and accept the Open Challenge and win? I think it's going to be Samoa Joe, and that will be his first title win. And I was like, nah, man, surely they're keeping the belt on him until WrestleMania. That's the story they're telling. So he sort of demanded that I gave him props on the WrestleRamble, so I thought I'd better give it props.
2017.
2017, there
was
you
a
go.
year early. But still, 2 years for Joe to not have even by mistake, he should have been a tag team champion on Raw.
But then Kayla's doing this backstage interview with new champ Joe, and she's almost playing the part of Charlie Caruso, Mean Charlie, being like, mate, you've been rubbish for like years. You can't win the big one. But finally, you big dumb dolt, you've won a belt. And he starts to, he said, I'm not here to pander to the fan base. I'm not here to, like, get your adulation. I'm not John Cena. I'm not this guy. And he has effectively called out John Cena with the belt. And so, yeah, that's when I started to think, are we going to build to that? That finally, that Joe versus Cena program that we were meant to get at that WrestleMania 2 years ago.
Yep, at the 2017 Royal Rumble. When Joe came up, that was the plan, to have him feud with Cena, but he was injured almost immediately.
Yeah.
And they just had to scrap it. And Cena proposed to his girlfriend instead.
That's right. They did that angle instead.
That went well.
That was when you had Joe and Owens as the meaty men.
Talk about no follow-up. Just dropping a storyline, Cena and Bella.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was the what were they called?
I can't remember
We came up with a name for Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe.
It was like Triple H's meaty man. I can't remember.
It was like
now.
Unit.
Oh, the Unit.
It was something Unit.
Yeah.
Meat Unit or
something like that.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. Killer Unit. Kill Unit. I don't know.
Go back into the archives and you can find it there.
But Samoa Joe and John Cena is just, I mean, it's an all-time dream match that, you know, if you asked us this a decade ago in the real depth of our TNA fandom, we'd have been like, oh my God, I want to see that match, and I want to see Joe just choke out Cena in seconds.
Right.
And like the legit Joe versus the phony John.
And it's so funny as well, because you said this to me just before we came in to record. Like, could you imagine 10 years ago, like 2007, you'd have said, oh, it's going to be Joe versus Cena at WrestleMania. Like 2007, my mind would have exploded. And you couple that, as you quite brilliantly pointed out, with the fact that we're also going to get Randy Orton versus AJ Styles. That really does feel like the top talent of TNA 2007 versus the top talent of WWE 2007 finally colliding on the greatest stage of them all in 2019. It's nuts.
It's insane. I'm sure not so much AJ and Randy, but I think Joe and Cena are going to have just such a good feud. Yeah. I think the match will be fine, but it will be like all the circumstance and the big time feel around the match that will make it great, not necessarily the in-ring action. But the build to that, the promos between the two, I can't wait. I'm really excited for it. I'm not going to be critical. It's a shame that doesn't feel bigger. It's a shame that this is only a thing that's really been built in 4 weeks out from Mania.
Oh yeah, I forget that Mania's so close. I keep thinking we've still got 5-6 weeks before WrestleMania, but we're not. It really is round the corner. And also, we probably shouldn't get ahead of ourselves because we don't know if this is going to be the match. It may end up just being this 4-way again, but at WrestleMania.
So Cena is in New York on WrestleMania weekend. He's doing a Elbow Grease book signing, which is his children's book.
And he is factored into WrestleMania plans. They just haven't decided on what match he's going to have yet. Because originally it was going to be Lars Sullivan, but those plans have all fallen through and that storyline's been dropped completely. Then it was going to be Drew McIntyre, I believe, but that's also being dropped. That was meant to start before the Rumble.
And then R-Truth.
And then perhaps, and then R-Truth.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see the match. It's just
if it's happening.
Shall we get on to some beer tasting? We are, of course, sponsored by Beer 52. The WrestleRamble is, of course, sponsored by Beer 52. So head over to beer52.com/WrestleTalk to get your free case of craft beer. It's free beer.
And it's UK viewers only.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And what a great service it is. I've been a subscriber to Beer 52 now for like 3-4 years. I love it.
Yeah.
Every month I've got a case and I love it.
It's nice to be sponsored by something that we genuinely love.
Yeah,
So
really.
this is not shilling. This is us sharing the craft beer joy.
So this comes from the White Hag. It's called Cauldron of Plenty.
I'm excited about
You were
this.
very excited because you do love a porter, don't you?
Yeah, I love a porter and I love oat milk. And I think oatmeal porter means it's going to be a mixture of the two.
Well, let's find out. It's funny because since we've been sponsored
smells
by
quite
this,
beery.
I think this is where you've discovered more about your beer taste, which is one of the other great things about Beer 52.
I just assumed beer was something I had to drink to talk to people and not enjoy because I get bloated easily. But then I discovered porters and stouts and like the Guinness side of things, but not Guinness because it's a little bit too creamy for me. But this is lovely.
You want to put a Tia Maria in there, that's what you want to do, a little shot of Tia Maria. Anyway, this is the White Hag. Ancient Irish mythology will tell you that the White Hag was a witch, a chameleon creature, and even Mother Nature herself. We know she was all that and more, a spiritual force from the end. Oh no, I'm reading the wrong thing. Tasting notes. A robust dark porter with a complex and flavorful roasty character. The silky finish comes with the addition of oats, rich yet gentle, malty, dark ale.
That's lovely. Do you want to
Yeah,
sip?
I'm not usually a porter man, but I will certainly give this a go. Good Foley work. Oh, that is nice. That is nice.
It's a SmackDown review, Maggle. I love it. We got us a flying Uso.
The show itself opened with a RIP graphic for King Kong Bundy, which is a shame. And then we got Daniel Bryan coming down to the ring.
A shame they had a graphic.
No, that came out bad.
It really did.
It's-
I just wanted you to clarify. You're like, oh, God, it was so disgusting that they honoured this man's life.
No, the shame was in the fact that someone had passed on, not from the fact that he was remembered. But I'm sure someone wants to take that out of context. So Daniel Bryan came down to the ring with Rowan. The idea being he didn't get to say anything last week. He stayed silent, and he's going to cut a promo now. But before he even says a word, he points to the screen, Luke.
He just lets the screen play and they recap what happened last week, really carrying over this Kofi storyline. I feel like the recap what happened previously is kind of worse on SmackDown.
Yeah, it's like a SmackDown thing.
I think SmackDown does two things worse than Raw, and that's one of them.
And booking. Oh, no, sorry.
Worse than
SmackDown
Raw.
does that better.
Yeah, SmackDown does that way better. It's the screen thing and cutting to ad breaks in the middle of matches.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't talk about that fatal four-way, but like, I was getting really wound up with SmackDown this week of just cutting away from wrestling. And they did all of this build-up to the match, then did all the introductions for all four men, and then instantly went to an ad break as soon as the wrestling started. And I was like, come on, guys. Let's actually watch some wrestling, shall we?
Yeah. But, my problem with this is Daniel Bryan. If you have a video recap package like this, it should be the announcer's job to do it. If Bryan's introducing the video package, it should be a phonally edited video
tailored
package
to him.
where it's like, oh, Daniel Bryan was caught out. He didn't know Owens was coming, and then like Kevin Owens pinned him. But that's not what happened. It was a very straight thing. So Bryan just introduced a video showing him get beaten.
Yeah.
And then that wasn't really yeah, everyone knows I hate it. It's still a thing. It's still a problem. But yeah, Bryan cut a very good promo, putting over Kofi and putting over Owens while also putting them down in a feud-like way.
It was brilliant. He said that all WWE have done have replaced someone who gives out copious amounts of pancakes with someone who eats copious amounts of pancakes.
Yeah. But he also he had a line about how Kevin Owens has nothing to lose, which would have been nice, but then they used the exact same line a bit in the main
Later on,
event.
yeah.
So Owens comes out, and this was like a breath of fresh air, this exchange. Because Owens is saying he's cutting a promo on the ramp, and then Bryan will interject.
Yeah. But the camera's not cutting back to him to interject. He's not hitting his mark. He's just saying things over the top of him.
And it really felt like it was a spontaneous reaction from Bryan. The first one was Owens is just saying, when I was at home watching SmackDown from my couch when I was out injured, and when Owens said from my couch, Bryan, as quick as a whip, just went, where you belong.
Where you belong.
And it just felt like two people talking, or at least two characters talking, not two people who are scripted to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this Owens character and this storyline is very bizarre. In that last week, Vince McMahon handpicked Owen to be the replacement for Kofi Kingston, which with the association with McMahon, you would think he'd be like an authority-like figure. But it's not. This is the Kevin Owens that we expected to come back, which is, I'm the every guy. I'm just like you and that chap over there. We're all in this. I think he's a pretentious jackass. So he's very much a babyface. And then like later on in the show, he's standing tall with Mustafa Ali, the blue chipper babyface Mustafa Ali. So it's just very weird to kind of still have that association with Vince McMahon.
Yeah. It sticks out like a sore thumb. And the history of Owens with the McMahon family, with Triple H, it's just a lot of continuity that they are dropping. And I don't think we're going to get a payoff for this. I said it at the time. I was like, they're not going to pay off Vince introducing Charlotte and Owens. And, they're not. It's not that I definitely think they should, but they're not going to, because it was just something, it was lazy booking, because plans probably changed last minute. The whole Kofi thing catching fire.
I was going to say, plans did change last minute. This was meant to be the WrestleMania program.
So like, how shall we do it? I know, let's send Vince out to just say blur, because blur, and the fans are idiots, so they'll take it. And, we're still watching, so
I guess
screw us.
Owens then says that Rowan is just a 7-foot backup dancer for Bryan. And Bryan says, well, you don't have any backup because you don't have any friends. And Owens, like a nice bit of character continuity for Owens, was like, no, you're right. I don't have any friends because I have made a lot of mistakes in my past. I've done a lot of actions. That means I don't have friends and I don't have backup. But, I didn't need backup when I beat you last week. I thought it was some really, really nice lines in this. So there was some really nice scripting.
It was a tag match.
He still pinned him. Oh, yeah. I suppose he... Okay, yeah.
He had Kofi. Kofi taking out Rowan with the trust fall was a huge part of that finish.
Yeah, I forgot. I forgot it was a tag match.
I thought Sami Zayn's coming back.
I thought the same thing. I thought he's going to bring out Sami now to be his backup.
And maybe, you don't have to do that in this moment because it would have very much undermined and undercut Mustafa Ali's return later on. I mean, maybe that was what this was foreshadowing, that Ali is going to be his backup and his friend.
I also feel that we figured that we're going Owens versus Bryan at Fastlane because we want to do Bryan versus Kofi at WrestleMania, do the big one-on-one match where Kofi gets his coronation. But on this, based on this show, I almost feel like we're heading to a fatal four-way. Just more multi-man matches with Ali in the mix as well. So you do Bryan, Kofi, Ali, and Owens.
That'd be a real shame.
Which I'm so less into than just Bryan versus Kofi. Not everyone gets to be on the card.
Yeah, I never thought I'd say this, but Owens and Daniel Bryan, a babyface Kevin Owens, which was like my dream. Just seeing his babyface run from Ring of Honor in like circa 2011, 2012, I think. And that's happening now. I mean, it's nothing like that babyface run, but at least he's there and I can root for him. It's like when Kurt Angle first turned babyface and I'd loved him as a heel for so long and now I could feel good about cheering him.
Yeah.
I was so overjoyed. That was the biggest moment of the year for me as a teenager. But it's not the story they should be telling right now, I think. And the crowd really showed that when they were chanting for Kofi. Kofi got the loudest reaction on the entire show, and he was doing promotional work in India.
Yeah.
He wasn't even in the country.
Yeah, that's right. That is the storyline that people want to see at the moment. So I get that we have to... It's the problem with having two pay-per-views in between the Rumble and Mania, I guess. We have to have a different storyline here so we can get into that Kofi storyline afterwards.
It's infuriating, though, because that's never been the way they've done stuff in the past. In the past, WWE will hammer the same match to death month after month after month. 5 Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles matches. There you go, kids. 5 Miz and Daniel Bryan matches.
You wanted AJ Joe feuding in WWE? Well, here it is for 5 months.
Yeah, it's the monkey's paw wish. But here it's This is going to sound hypocritical because usually I'm very much against that. But there are examples where you should go with what's hot and just figure out a way to keep things fresh. And we've come up with at least two really good ways. One was from Reddit, I think, probably both from Reddit, where you can extend out this feud. And that's having the New Day versus a 3-man Bryan faction.
That was my idea.
Yeah, Fastlane. That's great. That's the one I would prefer. And then there's the other one of having Kofi versus Bryan at Fastlane. Kofi loses, but he gets another shot with the fate of the New Day on the line.
Yeah.
And you tell the consumerism of New Day versus Daniel Bryan trying to save the planet in a weird morality flip, where the consumerists are the good guys.
They're the heroes here.
Yeah,
Buy more products.
So I think WWE, as great as Kevin Owens is, he's the wrong guy for right now. It's not the right feud that they need to be focusing on. It's going to suffer because of that, because he's not Kofi.
Yeah, I guess. And I'm still excited for the match, but I'm not I'm not as excited in it because it's had 2 weeks worth of build, and how much can you get excited for something that's had 2 weeks worth of build that's come out of nowhere?
Kofi literally had 6 days of build for the Chamber. Yeah. That came out of nowhere, and it's possibly the hottest storyline in the company.
But I also feel that was just the first part of a larger story. I don't think maybe there were people going into the Chamber that thought Kofi was going to win. I certainly wasn't one of them, because I thought, well, that's the first chapter you tell of this story of Bryan beating Kofi, and then you continue this momentum of being 11 years to build to a much bigger match. So granted, that was 6 days, but that's like 6 days of the first chapter, whereas this feels like it's 6 days of the last chapter. Like this is coming to an end at Fastlane, unless they do the Fatal 4-Way at Mania.
Yeah. This isn't like a bad thing. This isn't a negative thing, having Owens versus Bryan, but it's not the super most effective thing, like I think having Kofi versus Bryan is.
Anyway, a brawl broke out at the end of this with Rowan nailing Owens with the it's not a choke slam, is it? It's the claw slam.
Is that what they actually called it?
Yes, because he does the iron claw first.
He grabs his face.
Yeah, and then slams you down.
You want a different name.
Well, I asked for the in the SmackDown review for people to suggest new names for the move. Only because I think there's going to be some good pun work in there, but I was too tired this morning to think of one, so I thought I'll outsource this.
After that, we got Jey Uso versus The Miz in a very short match that was predominantly an ad break. Yep, a shrink screen ad break, but the Usos cut such a good promo beforehand. Wonderful. The way they just play off each other is the sort of chemistry you could only get from brothers who have grown up their entire life together.
It's like the two brothers that Schmidt and Thingy live opposite in 22 Jump Street.
We can finish each other's
sandwiches.
Words. Oh, is it? Yeah, no. Words. But Miz got a bit of a promo as well. And
a lot of talking on this show.
Yeah, well, that's par the course, really, for a go-home show.
Perhaps, yeah. But it's one of these times where it kind of hits home with me when you get 22 minutes into a show and you've not had any wrestling. And I'm like, that's an episode of Friends. Like, that's a whole episode of Seinfeld before we get to anything.
I like that's how you see time. It's like, how many episodes can I watch before bed? I've got 3 Friends episodes before bed. Yeah. Or one HBO drama. No,
mate.
Three.
Let's go with 3 Friends episodes.
Because then I can bail after 2.
Exactly.
And it's fine.
Well, we know for a fact that there are some TV shows that I cannot watch more of one episode of. When I did try and watch the first series of Game of Thrones, I couldn't watch more than one episode at a time.
Yeah.
It's too long. It's too dense.
Yeah. So Jimmy tried to help a roll-up here for his brother in the match by pushing himself through the ropes and using his feet on Jey while he's rolling up Miz. I have no idea how the referee didn't see that.
No. It was pretty ludicrous. And then Shane took him out, and Miz hit the skull-crushing finale from out of nowhere for the win. Built up their match built the tag match for Fastlane. I would say, for all the talking in this show, it didn't feel like it was adding any heat to any of the matches going into Fastlane. I thought they did a much better job 2 weeks ago with this feud in particular. So this was like, well, we've got to do something, I guess. That'll do.
Yeah, the biggest angle on the show by a long, long way was someone winning a title that's not even featured at the show. In fact, neither Truth nor Joe are on the pay-per-view. It's the two guys who were also in the match.
Yeah.
But that's, so Rey and Andrade are fighting on the kickoff show, which is just obscene.
Well, why would you want to put a possibly great match on the main card?
But it'll be great. I can't wait to see promos interrupt it halfway through.
Well, that's the one thing. But more people will watch that. More people watch the kickoff show than they do the main show. So there is always that.
Then we got a Charlotte Flair promo backstage where she said if Becky loses at Fastlane, she's done with the company.
I think she more meant she's done with the match and she can't interfere anymore and she can't claim that she can be a part of it and things like that, apart from winning the Royal Rumble, obviously.
I swear she said gone. I swear she said Becky's gone.
I think she probably did. I think she was inferring from the feud, though, as opposed to gone from the company.
That's terrible. I mean, just think of all the things they've added to this match.
Well, I suppose, yeah. Your career is also on the line now.
Yeah, and I thought it was just a WrestleMania thing. If Becky's career is on the line, mate, you're probably right because they would have made a bigger deal about that.
Well, you'd think.
But that just, when she said that, I thought, well, Becky, I already knew Becky was winning.
Yeah.
Now I somehow know even more Becky's winning.
Although you say it's obvious that Becky's winning, but Ray didn't beat Randy Orton at No Way Out after he won the Royal Rumble to get his WrestleMania match, and he was still in that WrestleMania match. So there is every chance that Charlotte wins and they just do more convoluted storylines for the next 4 weeks, and then the go home show before WrestleMania, Becky gets added into the match, or maybe the WrestleMania kickoff show, Becky gets added into the match.
Yeah, I was thinking about the bonkers feud between Charlotte and Becky, and Vince never really gave an explanation for Charlotte being added beyond "I don't like your attitude, Becky." Mm-hmm. But
you're not the man around here, I am.
But really, there's a total reason for it. She wasn't meant to be in that match, the Royal Rumble. Charlotte was kind of the last woman standing after that.
Technically, she won.
But they've not brought that up, really.
Well, no, because that would be continuity. And I don't think, this is a storyline. Someone in the comments yesterday was like, Stephanie was just attacking out of self-defense. There's no storyline there. I was like, they literally brought it up on SmackDown the following night saying, what did Stephanie do here? Why did Stephanie do that?
And they would focus in on it. They'd blur the rest of the screen.
Slow-mo.
Look, Chekhov's gun is a standard storytelling device where you set something up early on and then you pay off on it. And it's a well-known construct that the audience feel like something is left open in a bad way if you don't pay off on it.
Yeah.
If you don't pay off on it, that is a very conscious choice. I think it was Okada and Omega where they didn't use a table they set up. That is so rare. And that was intentional because they're breaking down in a very meta way how wrestling matches are structured and then they're building it back up from there. That's the pinnacle of an art form. This is just a guy waking up and deciding, now we're doing that today.
Yeah.
Then we got the US Open title challenge,
Which was
and
lovely.
Title change.
Yep.
Best thing on the show by a long way.
So far and away the best thing on the show.
And then we got Becky Lynch hobbling around backstage to getting there to face Charlotte later on. And she was hobbling to such a degree that I was like, it's a work now.
It's now a storyline.
That is the go home segment of SmackDown is going to be Becky throwing away the crutches and saying, I'm not injured anymore and I'm going to kick your ass.
I've never been injured or something along those
lines. No, if you say I've never been injured, that's a heel thing.
Yeah, maybe.
That's like or was it CM Punk faking the eye injury? But if you have been injured, but now you're actually okay, and you're only using the crutch thing today, it doesn't really work because she was really beaten up by Ronda Rousey the previous night.
Yeah, so, I brought this up in the SmackDown review, and I'm sure some people will tell me that I'm wrong, but isn't it weird that Becky is medically cleared for this match? Because she can't walk. And I know she signed that document with Stephanie, but I thought the point of that document was if you get hurt even further, then you can't sue us. Or if you get hurt in the match, you can't sue us. But like when you watch Becky Lynch hobbling around, you're like, there's no way she could be medically cleared by a sane doctor to wrestle a match.
Yeah, there's no continuity here, and considering the first 2 weeks of this 5-week story was so much concern from the McMahons over her being medically cleared,
right?
It makes no sense.
Like
it's so muddled.
If you'd never brought up this concern that she's not going to be medically cleared, like if you hadn't that as part of a storyline, then there wouldn't be these questions around it. But as you say, there was a 2-week period where that was a big deal, that Becky is she medically cleared? Is she going to be okay for WrestleMania? That now she's hobbling about and can barely walk, and they're like, she's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure she can wrestle, and it's okay.
I don't know. I mean, I was going to suggest making it an unsanctioned match then, but then if it's an unsanctioned match, it would have no ramifications for like her being added into the Mania main event. So that doesn't make sense either. Well done, WWE. You've overbooked something so much where no possible thing can now make sense. We'll come on to that more later. So the New Day say it's like a little mobile phone camera thing. They're in India doing promotional work. Mm-hmm. Says they'll be at WWE Fastlane. Baby.
See, even he's in on the joke.
I think it's such a mistake to not have Kofi on the show.
But I'd imagine that India thing was probably planned like back in October, probably back in like September. Oh, this week
Send someone else.
Yeah, but if you were advertising the New Day, I guess they're good ambassadors for their company.
Oh, because
hey, I'm Pritcharding this. I'm Pritcharding
never
this.
change advertised plans.
I'm just Pritcharding this situation. Maybe they're there for a specific reason.
Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, Trish Stratus, Alexa Bliss. Then we got a fun bit of pacing. Aleister Black's entrance. Samoa Joe backstage promo. Ricochet's entrance. for a tag match. So I just I like that they're trying things with how they structure the show to make it feel more dynamic. I just think some of them are wrong because it just makes me think, well, so Black's just in the ring?
Just sat there.
Yeah, at least have Black and Ricochet come out together, or the Bar come out, and then they can start cutting a promo on the crowd. I don't know.
I've always said this. I've never been a fan of a tag team with separate entrances.
Yeah.
If you are a tag team, act like a tag team and come out with joint entrances. It's always wound me up. You don't have to have a tag name. Edge and Christian didn't have a tag name, but they did have the same entrance.
That's why Sheamus and Cesaro are still singles competitors in my head.
But they got a joint entrance though.
The music is not too seamlessly.
No, I disagree with that one. I think they have a shared entrance.
Tyler Breeze and Fandango. I cannot imagine that entrance music apart now. They did it well.
Anyway, they also announced we're getting a triple threat tag team match at Fastlane, which is surprisingly on the main card.
Yeah.
I'm stunned. Revival might get an entrance.
Wow.
Like, I'm genuinely shocked this is on the main card. But it is the Revival, Gable and Rude, and Aleister Black and Ricochet in a triple threat for the Raw Tag Team titles.
Black and Ricochet came out here for the match against the Bar with NXT name straps still.
Well, because they're still part of NXT. They're not official call-ups.
Yeah, whatever. And then, most of this match was also in a shrink screen.
Yeah, ad break stuff.
For an ad break. And then it came back and it was pretty much Black Mass and 6:30 splash for the win for Ricochet and Black. Again, still good that they're winning. But I just feel like they're on a treadmill. They're doing good running.
Oh yeah,
but they're not going anywhere.
It's Scooby-Doo running. There's stuff moving past them to give the feeling that they are moving forward, but it's just table plant pot. So after the match, Rusev and Nakamura ran down and attacked Black and Ricochet, which suggested they're in a SmackDown tag feud, but they're also going for the Raw tag titles at Fastlane. But regardless, so the heels then beat down Black and Ricochet. The Hardy Boys run down for the save, and you think, crikey, SmackDown's tag roster's a bit stacked at the moment.
Yeah. But I'm glad they reunited the Hardys on SmackDown rather than if it doesn't make sense. So just put them on Raw.
Yeah. Interesting. Rusev tweeted out, because someone took a photo of him at the event and said, like, hey, it was awesome seeing you last night. And he retweeted it saying, you might have seen the last of me too. If you want anything, if you want a news story for tomorrow.
Well, hey, I'm going to jump on that and speculate rampantly.
I've worked with less.
Yeah. I mean, Rusev always trolls people about that sort of stuff. But Matt Hardy was in the full old school Hardy's gimmick tie-dye top. He looked ridiculous. And the whole crowd are chanting, delete, delete.
That wasn't over, Ollie. That was never over.
Nobody wants this Hardy's. I don't know. So the main roster tag division actually has loads of good teams now.
So many good teams. Usos, New Day, The Bar. Like, that's just 3 from SmackDown. Then you've got Black and Ricochet, if you're going to keep them as a tag team. You've got the Hardy Boys, Rusev and Nakamura. The Revival, Chad Rude and Bobby Gable. Chad Rude and Bobby Gable. And then the B Team and Ascension and things like that. Heath Slater and Rhino, I think they're still a team. Hawkins and Ryder are now a team. Like, you've got all these tag teams.
Shane and The Miz. Hey, Luke. Gallows and Anderson. Hey, Luke.
You're right.
Sanity.
But literally, I did forget both of those teams. Oh man, if you'd have asked me, like, there's 2 teams you're missing, I wouldn't have got to them. That's bad, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I don't think Shane and Miz are in this for the long haul, but that's like a really stacked tag. Just merge the tag division together. Just merge them across both shows. If you're doing it for the women's division, I think, which you're not really. You say you are, but you're not really. There was actually a funny tweet between that. The Iconics tweeted saying, like, hey, we keep looking for you on SmackDown, to Bayley and Banks, and you never show up. And Banks like, well, we never see you there either. If you're doing it with the women's tag team titles, which totally makes sense because you've got a very thin roster, do it with the tag team titles across both shows where you've got this stacked roster of tag teams.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, or you've got enough tag teams to have 2 solid divisions of 4 to 5 teams each. That's more than enough. But they're just mishandled and misbooked. So I would say play with the toys you have better first. Then we got Mandy Rose taking on Asuka's former tag partner, Naomi, for a laughably short match.
It's funny that you said that Naomi was Asuka's tag team partner, because I was like, oh, it's Mandy Rose's previous blood feud that she had.
I didn't even think of that.
Where she was trying to rid Naomi from the company. I don't think that ever had a conclusion.
But yeah, it just sort of fizzled out.
Because they were building up to spots at Elimination Chamber.
Well, Naomi...
Naomi
got her pulled over, didn't she?
Yeah.
The Friday before the Chamber.
Jimmy got a belt out of that one, though. He won the tag title.
That's a good point, yeah. But he's a man.
And he might go to AEW. That's what Naomi needs to do. Threaten to leave.
It was just Sonya Deville got on the apron really quickly. 40 seconds max.
I said 60 seconds, but I might have been generous there.
Under a minute, I think, definitely. But it wasn't really a match. The point wasn't having a match here. Mandy Rose won heading into the pay-per-view this weekend, and then they're celebrating at the top of the ramp. Asuka appears behind them, pretty creepy looking with the child mask, and beats them both up.
Can you imagine booking a feud in which your setup for it is that someone you wouldn't have thought to pin Asuka pinned Asuka, and now she's got a championship match out of it? Imagine having that as your setup for a feud, and then never bringing that up, and never using that to create a story or anything like that. Because Mandy Rose pinned Asuka, then they went missing, and then Mandy pinned Naomi here. Now there's a match. There's nothing in this.
No. And this is crazy considering how much momentum Asuka had at TLC and when she was chosen for that match.
Yeah, right.
And then retaining at Royal Rumble and then
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Unforgivable.
It is. Wasn't featured at Elimination Chamber because they have a very small women's division. Yeah, it's been bad.
Then we got an AJ Styles promo backstage who was cutting a promo for Kofi, really?
Yeah.
He was saying Kofi's great, Kofi should get the title match. And Randy Orton walks in, just like he did last week, and was like, you're talking about how someone else should get a title shot. No wonder it took you 15 years to get here.
Yeah.
Brilliant line. So good.
Also think that AJ, I actually didn't bring this up in my review at all, actually. I completely missed this segment. But AJ also said, he was kind of echoing you and I and YouTube comments of being like, the McMahon said that the fans are in charge now, but I've seen no evidence of this.
Yeah. Well, now they've acknowledged it. They don't have to do anything about it. That's usually their way. But I thought this was... Last week, I was like, AJ and Randy, they had some really good matches on TV last year. It does feel kind of fresh, but I'm not into either guy at all at the moment. But this was the start of something.
Yeah.
It's got a long, long way to go, but I was excited for this.
Yeah, if you tell that story, that Randy, he just got his WWE contract. He just walked into this job because if you were to build a sports entertainer from the ground up, it would look like me. Whereas you had to fight in bingo halls in front of 100 people. You had to do the usual WWE rhetoric, but you do that as the heel Randy Orton. And AJ's like, no, I fought all over the world because I love this sport, this, that, and the other. And you build that to the match of AJ finally proving that he does belong in WWE, despite the fact being champion for most of his tenure there.
I'm not into that idea. Sorry.
Well,
I've heard that story so many times.
It's a better story than anything else, though.
Yeah. Then we got Kevin Owens taking on Rowan. Again, it was another match that was more of an angle because they went about a minute. Daniel Bryan's on commentary on the outside, and they just start going at it, and it ends in a DQ. Kevin Owens is getting beaten up for Mustafa Ali to return to zero reaction. This was depressing.
It wasn't just. He lays out Rowan with the Hurricane Rana, and then Owens takes out Bryan with a stunner.
I really liked that stunner.
Yeah.
I thought that was a much better stunner than last week.
Yeah?
Yeah. I watched it back 3 times. I was like, God damn, I love a stunner.
It's a great
stunner.
Move. It's Mustafa Ali, WrestleVotes revealed that he was going to be coming back before the show started, adding more fuel. But they said that he was going to come back and it was going to change matches once again. Like change match lineups, but I think they might have said for Fastlane as opposed for WrestleMania. But then when you've got Ali and Owens kind of standing side by side, that's when the cogs started turning in my head, being like, maybe it's going to be a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship, and because we want to get Ali and Owens on the card.
Yeah, I can totally see that happening. I think it's the wrong move though. I think so many people want to see Bryan versus Kofi,
but so many people want to see Becky versus Ronda. And
yeah,
that's not what we're getting. We're getting multi-person matches because you have to get everyone on the card.
Oh, yeah.
So you just end up with multi-man matches.
Yeah, because screw the fans. Screw storytelling. It's all about being fair to the boys. It's weird because while this has a lot of moving parts, the main event scene, you've got Kofi, Bryan, Owens, Ali.
Rowan.
I don't feel like this is overbooked.
No?
Yet. I feel like Ronda and Becky Lynch and Charlotte's really overbooked. But this is
you've been very quiet about your opinions on that.
But this is more like a main event scene that's got a lot of moving parts. I think they're doing it quite well. But if it goes the way you're suggesting, I won't be so happy. The main event, talking of overbooked, is Charlotte having a promo in the ring. She introduces a video package, and then Becky hobbles out with the crutch.
I like that your notes just say, in all caps, it makes me so mad.
Yeah. I've written here, this better end with Becky throwing the crutch to one side. I'm over the injury angle. Like, she was cleared a while ago.
Yeah.
And especially if you're going to have all the other stuff they've done, you can drop the injury angle now. I get that you want to make people believe that Becky might lose at Fastlane, but I don't think this is. It just feels it's a booking crutch, really.
Yeah, and also you're now in a situation where Becky is going into a match at Fastlane against Charlotte at a major disadvantage because she can barely walk. So if Charlotte loses this match, then she's going to look a bit rubbish. But you can then make the argument, she got too cocky, and that's what let Becky win. But you've already done that angle here, because Charlotte got too cocky with Becky, and she was playing with her, and then Becky got into the disarmer out of nowhere. So if you think about it, Charlotte would be, well, I'm not going to make that mistake next time then.
Yeah.
I'm just going to target the leg, lock in the figure 8, and get this done very quickly.
Yeah, so they brawled, not really an exciting go-home angle, because we've seen this a gazillion times before. The best thing was Becky locking in the armbar and shouting, "I'm going to break your mother in arm." She quite audibly said the F word.
I'm sure that will get her, that won't get her any heat whatsoever. That'll get her nothing but praise backstage. It's funny as well, because you and I have said, probably since the Rumble, probably since before the Rumble, they really need to end with Becky segments because she's the most over person in the company. And they keep putting her in the sort of like the middle of the show or like at the start of the show. The crowd's never as loud again. And then finally, they put her in this main event segment to close out the show. And it was a really flat angle. Like all the great stuff they did, like a few weeks ago, where it was in the middle of the show, was like, oh man, should have put that at the end. This, I'm like, oh, you could have put this in the middle. It would have been fine.
It's because WWE have just called off this feud insanely.
Yeah.
And the crowd, it doesn't have as much momentum anymore because I guess the crowd are confused. I'm confused.
It's Brett Vince, man.
Yeah,
I know some people are taking us to task for comparing it to that when apparently that's not fair and they're two different matches. I think it's the exact same thing.
I think that the underlying idea
Yeah.
of overbooking and using those two as examples is fine. So yeah, it was a go home show that had go home things on, but nothing made me want to watch Fastlane.
No.
Here. More than but it didn't do anything to take away from me watching Fastlane though. The most exciting thing was something that has no bearing on Fastlane, which was the Joe title win and the John Cena match, possibly. I'm just so over this Becky injury stuff now. They need to drop it. Overall, I would give it a smack bang in the middle, really.
I gave it a smack bang in the middle as well. It's my second of 2019 smack bang in the middle.
Yeah, but you hate SmackDown.
I just hate it so much. I never give it a good rating.
Well, should we do some Patreon shout-outs before we
think
get
we
out of
should.
here? Thank you, the star athlete, Lendl Brenson.
Oh, yeah, star athlete, man. He ain't no small man. He's William Tall Man.
Yeah,
there he is.
Harder than its bite, Sean Barksdale.
Colin McLeaner than Finn Balor. He's lean.
I thought it was a cleanliness thing. Let off some steam, Dom Bennett.
Oh, Schwarzenegger references. Steep climb, James McAhill.
Mahill?
McMahill. Yeah, that's the one.
Adam and the Anthony Bergeon.
Oh, yes.
Prince Charming.
Prince Charming. Asuka's future husband and EOF one-man wrecking crew, Skin Trade. I got it right this time. Got it there.
You've given me, yep. You'll never get this name right, you idiots. Matthew Zimjewski.
That's a good effort, man, I reckon.
This best one so far.
Brett the Hitman Matthew Williams.
Woo!
Oh,
yeah,
man.
thank you all so
More
much.
of those on the NXT review tomorrow.
Please click the videos that have just appeared on our desk to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk things and go to beer52.com/WrestleTalk. You can click the link in the video description below to get your free case of craft beer, UK viewers only. I've been Ollie Davis, this has been Luke Owen, and that was Rambling.